This is interior design and what you need to know about it regarding licensing, testing, associations, and schooling. I'm Anita Bhattacharya, and I'm a licensed interior designer in the state of Florida. I'm also NCIDQ certified and hold a degree in interior design from Wentworth Institute of Technology in Boston. I have almost 30 years experience in this industry. When most people think about interior design, they think about residential interior design. And I think that that's the segment that gets the most amount of coverage. It's certainly in the media anyway. But there are many different market segments for design. In fact, most spaces you walk into really have been designed, things have been thought about, selected, specified. And so there are different market segments. There's the commercial market segment, healthcare, hospitality, education, there's retail. And so it's important to know that there are different options and specialties within interior design that some of us as designers focus on. So I personally have worked in the field of commercial design, healthcare design, and residential design. So those three market segments. And I do hold my license with the state of Florida through the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations. And so architects and interior designers are required to get their license if they work commercially. And so there's an educational component, a working underneath an architect or interior designer that's licensed component to that. And you also must pass your NCIDQ, which is a national testing exam, which I'll talk about in a second. But basically, those are some stringent requirements. About half the states in the United States have licensing for their interior design professionals that work commercially. So please check with your individual state to see what the requirements are. So if you look on their website, you actually can see a description of what they define as a working interior designer. And so they have a very specific description that you can read about in more detail. So go check it out. Here are some quick links to find out more information if you do live in the state of Florida. And if you don't, you can check out your own state agencies to find out the requirements and information for your particular state. So both architects and interior designers have to keep up with continuing education units for their license to be upheld. So every 2 years, I am required to do 20 hours of CEUs, continuing education units for the state of Florida. And so 16 of those have to be for the health, safety, and welfare. And it could be learning the Florida Building Code. It could be learning about egress, ADA or handicap accessibility. And so these are really important requirements to keep the general public safe. So regarding the actual exams that are administered across the country, the Council for Interior Design Qualifications is actually in charge of administering an exam. We call it the NCIDQ exam, and it tests and recognizes one's abilities, knowledge, and experience in the field of interior design. And you end up getting a license number once you pass the exam. It is usually, it's 3 sections. It's usually over probably like a 2-day period, I think, at least that's what it was when I took it years ago. But it is kind of the gold standard to help protect, again, the safety of the general public. And you definitely have to know about, building design standards, fire safety issues, ADA accessibility. And if you look on their website, if you go to the CIDQ website, you will see that there are, different states. They will also tell you about licensing per state, how to take the exam, how to prepare for the exam, and what is required. But again, it is the gold standard, and everyone should sort of be working towards that. So visiting the website for NCIDQ, you can look at the legislative map of the United States and Canada to find out what's happening in your particular state. and you can get into detail about what you should do next. And also, they will discuss which schools are accredited and which schools are not. Also on the website, they have a short version and long version of what it is to be defined as an interior designer, and you should check it out to see the actual definition in detail. Now I want to move on to tell you a bit about the associations that affect the interior design industry. So the first is the U.S. Green Building Council Association, and they administer and establish green building practices. So they oversee the LEED, L-E-E-D, green rating system, which is a leadership in energy and environmental design. This group was founded in 1993 by 3 architects. It addresses the needs for sustainable building practices and the role we play in the global environmental degradation. And so they have 4 different levels of membership, and they have education, training, and credentials that you can look into as a professional designer. The next association is ASID, which is the American Society of Interior Designers. It's probably one of the more common ones that you would see in the residential market segment. And it was founded in 1961, has over 40,000 members and 5 levels of membership. So professional would be like an NCIDQ test holder. The second one would be an allied member, which would be someone who has 40 semester hours or 60 quarter credit hours in interior design education from an accredited school. The third level would be a student, the fourth would be an educator, and the fifth would be a vendor. So it's important to know the difference between a professional membership in one of these organizations and, say, a vendor or educator membership. And it's something that you should ask when you're hiring a designer. The most common association within the commercial and healthcare market segment would be the International Interior Design Association, commonly referred to as IIDA. It has over 15,000 members and is in 58 countries globally. There are 9 membership groups, both professional and associate, student, educator, and manufacturer, and this organization is based out of Chicago, Illinois. The next member association would be IDS, or the Interior Design Society. It is a residentially design association. So that is the market segment that they are administering to. It was founded in 1973 in High Point, North Carolina. It has over 2,000 members. It does not exclude non-licensed members. So that is important to know. You do not have to have a license to become a member. And it is open to vendors and students. The next association is one that I belong to here locally, and I'm actually the president of currently right now, and that is the Alliance of Interior Designers in the Triangle area here in North Carolina. And so we are a nonprofit networking and professional group to support interior designers here locally. And we definitely have educational and networking opportunities. And also different levels of membership as well, student and professional. We were originally founded in 1996 as part of the Triangle chapter of the Interior Design Society, so IDS, and we reorganized in 2011. Another organization is the AIA, which is the American Institute of Architects. And it was one of the older associations. It's founded in 1857 with over 95,000 members. It does have 5 levels of membership and is based in Washington, D.C. Some interior designers will, choose to be a part of that group, or vice versa. Some architects choose to be in membership in some of our interior design organizations. And so you just should be aware that it's out there, and it's, again, another resource for you to research. And lastly, I just want to talk about a few other organizations that you might hear about. One is the National Kitchen and Bath Association, for those who specialize specifically in kitchens and baths on the residential side. There's also the International Facilities Management Association, or IFMA, IFMA, another resource for you. and also the International Furnishings and Design Association, which is IFDA. These are all terms and associations you're going to hear about in the industry. And again, it's another place for you to go and find information on. So my name is Anita Bhattacharya, and I am the owner of Otrada Design here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you so much for listening.